Hi, this is Tim of the 1916 Company. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email us Team Mosso at the1916company.com for purchase, pricing, and availability questions concerning this watch. Today we're discussing one of the earliest examples of the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Jumbo 15202 that I've seen. So you can see on the reverse, this one's number 905, and it's a high E serial in the 82,000 range. You can also see an example of the early 15202 rotor on this. So it's a fascinating case study in the way the 15202 was born in the early 2000s. 15202 was made starting in the year 2000, and of course for 2022 it was replaced in its second generation by the new 16202, but the 15202 changed quite a bit during its long production life, to the point that I would almost describe the pre-2012 watches as a unique reference, and certainly the monoblock case generations as distinct from the later three-piece cases. So this is very similar to the original 5402 Royal Oak of 1972, as Gerald Genta intended. Monoblock case, dial that looks black, but you got to take my word for it, it's just a very dark blue. It's 39 millimeters in diameter. I measure it 8.4 millimeters thick, 49 millimeters from lug tip to lug tip, and then a 51.4 if you measure the end link on each side to its opposite number. That's the total rigid distance across the wrist. Thrown it on my wrist of 16 centimeters circumference, it wears quite nicely and very flat. That's always been one of the special features of the Jumbo. The absence of a seconds hand and the old school JLC-based movement make it a very flat and thin watch. It is broad though, so you got to think of this as more of a 41 millimeter round watch. If you want to know exactly how it fits, I'd recommend it for a wrist of 14 centimeters circumference and up, minus 16. The bracelet's in good shape. You can see, like all Royal Oak bracelets, it takes somewhere between 9 and 11 hours to hand finish it because of the degree of the detailing. This one doesn't disappoint, and the state of preservation is admirable. You can see all of the different polished and faceted elements and the breaks between those surfaces. You can also see removable links on both sides of the bracelet fixed by screws. We have this logo style early Jumbo clasp, or I should say early 15202 clasp, a single recessing trigger. Pull it if you want to open it up, just like that. AP logos internally. Rolling around to the case, you can see that the bracelet is fixed to the case using screws and bars. I've always liked this. It's a lot less risky than spring bars. Hexagonal crown, push down, rated at 50 meters, though I recommend you don't swim with any Jumbo. You can see the bezel gasket expressed as a styling feature of the watch. It's just a hairline strip of black below the bezel. The bezel with 3 facets, satin polish, and then satin on top. The bolts, and they are bolts, are made of white gold, which is why they're a darker, warmer tone than the steel of the bezel. If you look carefully, you can see they're recessed below the plane of the bezel, and when they are even with the bezel or above, that's always the threshold for replacement at Audemars Piguet. So you can see this one's well preserved. Hexagonal crown matching the shape of the bolts on the dial. You could see the Petite Tapisserie, a lovely little hobnail cut that's done on a pantograph. Back when this was made, they would have been cut by Stern Frère, which is a company initially created by the Stern family of Patek Philippe, latterly owned by Richemont. But Stern Frère was the fabricator of pantograph cut AP dials for a long time. Around 2012, AP took that in-house. The important thing is the Tapisserie is a lovely, super detailed pattern with many little divots and details on and between the hobnails, over 20,000 little dots on this dial, and you can see a very, very dark blue. White gold logo, white gold baton style hands, and matching indices. And by the way, you gotta just take my word for it here, there is a hour hand right there. You can also see 15202 pre-2012. The date disc is not the color of the dial, also pre-2012. We've got these little Arabic numerals outboard of the indices. The logo is up at 12 o'clock, quite a few differences on this generation of watch. Also important to note, it's got a quirky quick-set feature, so I'm not going to demonstrate it here, but if you want to know how to quick-set this, you actually roll through midnight, and then you back the hour up to 10 p.m., and you back seesawing between 10 p.m. and 12 a.m., and it ratchets the date forward. That's how the quickset works on these JLC 920 based movements. By the way, note the case back, one piece. There's no seam between the case back and the mid case. That is the monoblock case. As Gerald Genta, the original designer, conceived the watch, the case back and the mid case are one piece for better water resistance and thinner construction. At some point, AP went away from that in the second generation of the 15202 in the late 2010s, and it was a considerable dilution of the original watch. By the way, if you're wondering where this design came from, this rounded octagon, allegedly inspired by a vintage diving helmet. That's where Gente got the idea. What's fascinating to me is that the early 15202s used a less ornate rotor than the later ones. So if you take a look at this, it is the AP logo style rotor, and it is skeletonized and it is beautifully beveled inside, but there's a lot less surface interest and engraved detail on this rotor than on later versions. Now, of course, you see right here, this is E82000, and I've seen that E66000 was verified by AP as having been made in 2002. So let's say this is somewhere around 2003, this watch right here, just to put everything in perspective time-wise. You could see that it is still adjusted in 5 positions. My favorite detail is these little points between Audemars Piguet. See how there are these 2 little like devil's tail tips and the third one at the bottom? Those are difficult to achieve, those little beveled tips that come to a point. 36 jewels, automatic winding via unidirectional winding action, 5-position adjustment, 40-hour power reserve, beat rate of 19,800 vibrations per hour, and it has a free-sprung gyromax style balance. The degree of beveling is to a much higher standard than you'll find on newer AP watches, which are self-evidently machine beveled. This is hand finished. Stripes across the bridges, engine turning on the base plate, satination on the wheels, including 2 different types of solarization on the crown wheel core, and then the ratchet wheel. You can see that the click has been beveled on its sides and polished on its top. There's a beryllium ring that runs all the way around this caliber 2121, and it's mounted on 4 ruby rollers, 1 at each corner. It's part of JLC's solution to create this ultra-thin automatic, which was only ever used by Patek, Vacheron, and AP, designed for and only ever used by the Holy Trinity. JLC's solution to prevent the rotor and the mass from coming in contact with the bridges and plates when super close hauled to them was to use those 4 ruby bearings. Then this beryllium ring ensures that the rotor is supported all the way around, and so no amount of concussion or shock can bring these elements into contact with each other. A really beautiful movement. The JLC 920 launched in 1967 for the Holy Trinity, only ever used by them. Never by JLC's other customers, and never by JLC itself. Do a quick loom shot right here so you can get a sense of the watch in the dark. There you go. That is that. If you love this watch, reach out to Team Mosso at the 1916company.com for purchase and pricing details.